Hello, I wanted to do a flip through of this junk journal that I just made. It's for a swap in a group I'm in on Facebook, and the lady that I'm making it for, she likes fall colors, and since it's coming up on fall, I thought I would just go ahead and make a fall themed junk journal. So I'll just flip through it. I'm also going to do a version of this without the chatting and just speed it up and do a quick flip through. So you're welcome to watch that if you don't want to see the chatty version. But this one I'll tell you how I made it and what I did and all that good stuff. So I started with one of those old Reader Digest books that has like 4 or 5 stories in it. And I'd found it at the thrift store for $1. So I cut out the guts and wanted to use the cover. And it's kind of cool because it's a little bit faded on the edges, so it's got like that natural distressing, and the color goes right in with the fall stuff, so I thought that would work out perfect. So I started with that. Like I said, I cut out the guts, and then I covered the spine here around like that with this green paper that I had. It was just some scrapbook paper. Most of the supplies I used are from my stash, and I don't know where I got them from, so I'm going to apologize ahead of time for that. If there's anything that I do know where I got it from, I'll let you know. Then the seam where it came against this, it just was too bland, so I ran this brown ribbon right here to cover that up on both sides, and that goes on the inside too, which you'll see more of here in a little bit. Went ahead and punched a couple holes. I don't have an eyelet machine, an eyelet maker thingy, whatever those things are called. So for now, it's just a plain hole. Ran this thread through it so it's not sewn in. I haven't made any sewn signatures yet, so I'm anxious to try that. But for now, I just used some embroidery thread and ran it through there. I will link below the video that shows you how to do this method. Johanna, I don't know how to pronounce her last name, but I will put it below. She's the one that showed this specific method. There's other ones too that are similar. So that was that. I actually did the cover last, but since we have the cover here, I'll go ahead and tell you what I did with it. I had this heart that was already cut out of this. It looks like handmade paper. It's got some little flakes and stuff in it. So I put that on there. I wanted to put this leaf on, and it's just a fabric leaf. It's not a real leaf, of course. So I added that on there. I had these 3 little fabric flowers. This one's got a pearl in the center of it, and they kind of went with the fall theme, so I wanted to put them on there. I had 1, and it just wasn't enough, and 2 never looks right, so I did 3. And then I had these little cutouts of all these different letters, so I spelled fall out of it, put it across a string, and then put these little miniature clothespins up here to look like it was holding the string. I'm hoping this will mail okay. This one's already coming loose, so I'm going to have to re-glue that. But that's what I did with that. And then we have all these charms on the side. There are a bunch of them. Hopefully, let's see if I can do this to where it doesn't get all blurry. So as you can see, there's buttons, and there's a little key charm, and there's a little heart charm, and some of these little gems, and here's a stone that looked really cool. I don't know if it was painted like that or made like that or what it's even made out of. It looks like it's a different color on the inside. I had this little leaf charm that I really liked. So all kinds of fun stuff in there, and these little charms here that are leaves. So anyway, let's see if I can get these out of the way so I can film the rest of it for you. Okay, so we had to have at least 20 pages. I did 40, so I did 4 signatures with 5 sheets each of paper. So folded in half, that makes 10 pages for each signature. And that's 10 pages counting front and back as one. So on the inside here, this just looked kind of boring with just the brown, so I added this fuzzy green strip of ribbon that I had that has these little fuzzy squares on them. I had this from some clothing that I had. It's actually got the brand name on the other back side, but I liked this, and it had a funny spot here, so I just added a little strip of washi. And then we start with our first signature. I put a stamp here that I have in my collection. I got this stamp from AliExpress. Added a little bit of lace down the edge there. And then this side of the page was solid yellow too, and I didn't like it. So I had this picture that was from a paint advertisement from like Home Depot or Lowe's or something like that. It might have even been Walmart. And it had this really pretty candle photo on it, so I just cut it out and pasted it there. There is a little pocket that I left here with that so that you could use that as a tuck spot. And inside I put this. This is another paint chip sample. And I added this little bit of ephemera that I had. And on the back I added this paper and then stamped the mushroom there. And the mushroom stamps are also from AliExpress. You'll see those throughout the journal. So this page then was a page out of an old book. I glued on this strip of, looked like handmade paper. It's textured and it had this beautiful like jagged edge. I don't remember how it got jagged. It's probably from something I used and I just ripped it. Anyway, it worked perfect for this spot. I had this little applique flower that I just glued on right there. And then here's a little journaling card. And then on the back, this was actually printed. I printed this as well. And then I printed this on the back of it and it looked funny. So I just added this little stop spot and it looked like it would work good for some more journaling if somebody wanted to do that. And that tucks in there. And then the back of that page, I have this bigger journaling card, which I put down with some washi tape on both sides. You can see there. And then the back of it's just a plain. And then I stamped this here. This image is from an old floral arrangement book that I found in a thrift store. And that was just pretty by itself, so I just left that as it was. The back side of that was like that. I used a paint chip sample to glue as a tuck spot. Printed out this little tag, added some thread there at the top. This is a piece of scrapbook paper. I added one of these little Rolodex cards on there as a journaling spot and stamped this right there for a little added interest. And then the back side of this was just plain white. The back side of this paper was just plain white and it just looked way too stark against this side. So I cut out this from some scrapbooking paper I had and I absolutely love this. I wish I could find it again to use in other projects, but I just cut it to fit that. Added that there. If she wants to add something to it, she can. We're supposed to leave some spots for them to add things to. This is another page out of a book. It's from the index of a book. I had another piece of paper in a different shade of brown, like that handmade kind of textured. I stamped that there. I had these little images that somebody had sent me, and this one, it says it's harvest and it was like fall colors, so I was like, oh. So I glued it onto another piece of chipboard or paint, a paint sample thing. Put this paper on the back and then added a little date stamp there. And then this page, oh, I just absolutely loved this old map. It was some ephemera that I had too. And the colors on it are just gorgeous. So I figured, well, she likes bright colors too. So I went with a bright fall theme rather than like browns. And at the beginning of fall, there's still a lot of greens, and then you start getting the reds and yellows. So I really liked this, and this is the middle of the signature. I added this little tab here with a little piece of scrap paper I had. This also was from a paint advertisement. I just used it as a little tuck spot. And then the back here, this is another paint advertisement. I used it to make a pocket here. This green paper was, I believe, from an old book that I had, and it was like the very first page before the title page. And I just loved the paper it was made out of, and it was an old children's book, so I used it for this. I glued a little piece of a map here as a tuck spot. Made another one of those. Did a stamp of a mushroom there. On this side, this is that scrapbook paper again. So the green, on this edge, I covered it with the green so it wasn't that white. Added a postcard with some fun colors, and then this cute little paper clip that has a little leaf at the top, which I really liked. That's the rest of an image, and that's the rest of an image from that flower book. I had this full sunflower like card. I don't even remember where I got it from or what it was, but it was a big sunflower. I cut it in half, so I used half of it here as a tuck spot. I wanted to leave this little girl. She's kind of cute. This is from one of the old books that I had, and she's drinking tea. Back side of that, I had some pre-cut like journaling cards and tuck spots and stuff, so I used one of those there. This, I just put a little stamp of a bird there, and this is the end of the signature with a stamp of a mushroom there. So the next signature starts with this scrapbooking page, which has this gorgeous bit on the back that is very fall colored. And then this next page is a page from a old encyclopedia. I put a journaling card here, put it down with on both sides with some washi tape that was really pretty that I like. I added this on the edge, some more of that ribbon that I had. There's a brown ribbon with these little green fuzzy things. The back side of that, added a little tuck spot. I had this little card was already cut out and stained and cut on the edge, but this extra little stamp here, I used a Tim Holtz ink and a stamp that I have to do that, and I really like how that turned out, and I can't wait to play with that some more. Like, it makes it look really antique, and it kind of fit with the staining that was already on the card. I added a little bit of string there. The back's just plain. This page here was also from that floral arrangement. I added a little bit of red lace to go with that. That's the back side of that. This is a little piece of wallpaper that I had in my stash. Added that as a pocket here. Put in this beautiful fall color postcard. And just tuck it right in there. Oh, this is supposed to be like this. So this page was just this plain orange. I added this piece of another paint sample and put it down with the washi tape, as you can see there. The back of it, of course, had like advertisements and information, so I just put this paper on the back so that she could use it to write on or add a picture, whatever she wants to do. And then I stamped these arrows along here. I put them a little too close together, so it ended up not looking quite like I wanted it to, but I think it still works. And this image was from an old book, kind of like a calendar book, like it went through every day of the year and talked about special events and stuff, and there was this image in it. And on the back of it, it had stuff that I really didn't want to show because it didn't fit into the theme, so I just ripped up some papers and did a collage on both sides here, so you can see that here. And then I added this little pocket here and stamped the little bee on it. And then this was another image from that same book that had Winnie the Pooh, and it just looked kind of fall colored, so I added that. This page again was solid orange. It was just too plain for me, so I stamped this along the bottom. And then on the back of that, I had this green envelope. It's grass, actually, probably more summer grass than fall grass, but I just went ahead and added that so she can tuck things in there if she wants. This page, the background is from an old sewing book. This is another paint advertisement, so I just added that as a little tuck spot there. And it makes these pages, because they're pretty thin, so it helps make it more sturdy. And then again, I added this ribbon there. Here's another tuck spot. Here's this little tag. This tag started out just like this color. It did have the hole pre-punched and it was already cut out. So I distressed this image of this butterfly girl. It's not really a fairy. She almost looks more like a butterfly. But anyway, I distressed it. I'd cut it out, fussy cut it, and then distressed the edges of that, added some sequins, put on some of this little gold trim, and tucked it in there. The back side of that page I left like it is, but added this arrow stamping here at the bottom. And then that's the end of that one. Then we get to the third. And on this one, the green paper I used on the cover to cover the outside edge of the binding. I used some of that paper. And then I used another one of these little paper clips that says Autumn Adventures. And then I stamped some mushrooms. This is an envelope, and then I just stamped it on there, and then tuck that right there. A little more lace on the edge. And that one, I left the back of it plain for now. This is another page from an old book. I made this out of an envelope. I cut it in half, and then I trimmed off the top, and then I made a couple in here of this. You'll see the other one in a bit. But I like the envelope because it had that like handmade or recycled paper look. I did a little edge cut here with some fancy scissors that I have, if you can see that. Put a strip of washi, stamped that in there, and then I put on the inside, I put this paper just to give it some interest and edging. This is another journaling card that I stamped or printed out and cut out. I stamped notes here. These journaling cards are free, and if I can find the link, I will link them as well. And then I stamped the notes with that Holtz Ink. That's the back of it. And on the back side of that, I had these handmade paper envelopes with matching stationery. So I just added that in there, figured she could journal on that if she wants. This is some really pretty, bright, vintage, collage-looking piece of paper that I had. Only the front of it was decorated. The back of it was just plain. So on the back here, I added this stamp. This page here was just this kind of cool chart. I don't even know what it would be used for, to be honest. But anyway, I liked it. So I included it in there. I added another journaling card on this side. It's plain on the inside there. Put some washi tape. The back side of that I left like it was. This is another image from that floral arrangement book. I added a tab with a little piece of ribbon that I had that I thought kind of coordinated pretty well with the photo. And then on this side of that page, here's the other half of the sunflower. And I stamped autumn along the side there. And that's the back of that. I tried to leave some pages for her to decorate. I obviously didn't leave very many. And then on this side of this, I had another little tuck spot, and then I did this image on one of the paint chips, added the paper on the back so she could write on it and put a little stamp there. And then this page here, I just put, first I put down in yellow a little feather stamp, and then I put beauty is everywhere on top of that. This is the other side of that beautiful paper. And then here again, I added this little strip of ribbon. I don't know if you can see that. There we go. Kind of was blending in with the green behind it. Put this little pocket here. Added another one of the tags. On the back side of that, I added another journaling card that you can flip out. I put some washi tape, stamped an image of a mushroom there. And then that's the end of that signature. And finally, the last signature, I stamped on the first page those arrows right there. And then I had this beautiful envelope. Someone had sent me something a few years ago, and I had hung on to this envelope because they had decorated the outside of it so beautifully. It was like a big, well, it wasn't terribly big, but it was about like this and then like that. It was just one of those manila envelopes, and then they put all this like inking and stuff on it and then stamped stuff, and it was just gorgeous. I was like, I have to use that in something, and it seemed like it fit in this, so I went ahead and used it. It did leave a little space down here, so I just covered that up with some washi tape, and then there was an address here, so I blacked that out with black ink and then covered it up with washi. And then it is an envelope, so of course it creates a great tuck spot. I added another one of the postcards I had in there. Then you can see I put some edge washi on there as well. And then on the back of that page that it was glued on, it was just white, or no, this was the back of it, I'm sorry. So that page I wanted to cover up. And then this was the image on the other side of it. Here's another piece of an old book. Ooh, something's gotten, oh no, it didn't, okay. And then I put some more edging on that. This side, I added this journaling card, and then you can see here, I added a couple stamps at the top of that. Make sure I've still got that in frame, okay. Here's a piece of scrapbooking paper that I added some interest on the edge by putting some stamps, and then the back of this scrapbooking paper, of course, was just the solid white but it seemed to fit okay with this side, so I went ahead and left it solid white and just added another one of those pockets that I put washi tape on, cut the edge there, put the paper under, and then this little tag again is out of a piece of the paint sampling, another one of those little photos that came in some ephemera I had, added the paper on the back, and then a stamp, and then of course the gold ribbon. And this page is just that image from the flower arrangement book. The inside too, I think it must have had some more like decorating and stuff advice in it or something, because that's what this looks like. And I added some red ribbon, and I could not get anything, or lace, I couldn't get anything to work in here, so I figured I would just leave it and see if, you know, what she wanted to do with it. And the back side of that I left plain. This was just a little too white for me on this side, so I added some washi. Another tuck spot with one of the paint advertisements. I left the back side of that plain. This page I left plain. I kind of like the way it looks, but then she can add stuff on there if she wants to. Back side of that, I added a tuck spot. I stamped on with some ink from the Tim Holtz collection. Added a little tag. This is an image from that calendar book. It was an Alice in Wonderland image, which I added a little ribbon to as a tab on the side. The back of it, I have another one of those paint advertisements that creates a great little tuck spot. And then this is the end of the signature. And then at the very end, I had this paper bag, and I don't know if I like this idea or not, but for now, I went ahead and used it. She can take it out if she wants, but it's the bottom of a paper bag. And I just stamped. I don't even like how this turned out. I'm still thinking about redoing it. I don't know. I'm not crazy about it. But you open this up and it just pops open like a little paper bag. And then it's got all these little extra little bits of ephemera and trim and just little pieces that coordinate or were left over from when I was making the junk journal. So that is the junk journal. Let me know what you think. If you have any advice on what I could change or do better next time, that would be great as well. I appreciate you watching this with me, and please be sure to subscribe to my channel if you would like to see more, because I'm going to be working on more junk journals as well as other crafty projects and who knows what else. So thank you again for watching. Have a great day. Be sure to like the video if you liked it, and talk to you next time. Bye for now.